Hi, everybody. Welcome to our very first Q&A with the Shabbat Ideal Weight Facebook group. I am so happy to be here live with you guys. Please make sure to let me know you're here, to leave comments, and we can get started. I have some questions that were submitted in advance through our Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint digital course and from our exclusive group coaching. Our exclusive group coaching has access to a special WhatsApp group where they are putting in their food journals from Shabbat to Shabbat. So we're going to be able to have a lot of really great questions from their experience and from people who are submitting via email who are going to the Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint course. But because you are in this amazing community, I'm inviting you to invite your friends to join this Facebook group and have access every Thursday to asking me any question that you want within the topics that we're covering in the blueprint about your Shabbat experience and how you can improve it to stop weight gain without giving up the things that you love. So in the poll here in the group, you guys had some really great answers, things that you had questions on. And the most popular question was food amnesia. In fact, food amnesia is module 4 in the Shabbat Ideal Weight Blueprint, but in the group coaching, I actually moved it to section 1 because I absolutely find, as you see in your own lives, that it is critical to mastering this weird phenomenon called food amnesia that happens to us so often on Shabbat. Have you ever finished a basket of laundry? I mean, like, not just a basket of laundry, but like all the baskets of laundry in your entire house. There is like such a sense of accomplishment when you have finished all of the laundry in your house. I know that because right now it is Thursday and I have about 6 loads of laundry to do and 4 loads that are already out of the machine waiting to be folded and put away. And the sense of accomplishment and peace that I feel when all of the laundry is done and there's no more waiting for me actually lasts all week. Even when there's a load to do here or a load to do there, it's never overwhelming. But when it becomes this huge amount, I don't know, just knowing what's waiting for me downstairs is stressing me out. And very often, that's what happens with our weight. We put on 2 pounds every Shabbos, and it's like an easy load of laundry. It's no big deal. But when that's on top of more and more and more weight, when it's 5 pounds that's sticking around every single year and adding another 2 every Shabbos, even if some of it's coming off in the middle of the week, it becomes a problem. It becomes that overwhelming, massive amount of laundry. And you don't always feel success every time a load comes out of the dryer, every time another load is folded and put away. We have to allow ourselves to celebrate that. And that's how we start to work on food amnesia. What? It's like laundry? Yes. When we're having food amnesia on Shabbos, we are turning off the part of our brain that is connected to our body. When people say you get a double portion on Shabbos, it's just like the mun. It's okay to eat past when you're full. It's okay to have abundance and abundance and abundance at your table. In fact, if you don't have like so much food, either in quantity or in variety, I mean, you're not really having a Shabbat experience. Shabbat is all about abundance, right? So of course, in order to experience and consume all that abundance, you have to turn off your body. You have to turn off any connection there. And we think we're okay with that because we're leaning into our soul. It's like all week this week when I had amnesia that there was a load of laundry waiting for me. And so load of laundry after load of laundry after load of laundry just kept building up and building up and building up till all of a sudden I went to clean everybody's rooms for Shabbos, and every single person in the house had a mountain of dirty laundry. And then you get in this feeling of overwhelm. Happens Sunday morning. You get on the scale. Monday morning, get on the scale, and you're like, oh my God, how could there be 12 loads of laundry? How can I have put on 4 or 5 pounds of Shabbos this holiday? It's like we have amnesia all week that the laundry needs to be done. It's like we have amnesia all Shabbos, completely disconnect from our body. So how do we start to change that habit, that routine? First of all, we got to check in with those core beliefs we actually have about Shabbos. That we get a double portion of everything. Your soul gets a portion and your body gets a portion. Let's eat. Well, actually, when God gave everybody 2 portions of mun, it was for 2 days. It was so that they didn't have to go out and hustle, but that they could pay attention with their body to their soul and use and integrate body and soul, because all week we're just in our body often. We're focused on making a living. We're focused on surviving, dealing with very practical body-oriented things. But on Shabbat, we have a chance to integrate the soul into the body. You don't have to worry about hustling and going to work today. You have to work on integrating your awareness into your everyday life. So when we come in with that kind of mindset that that's the spiritual experience we should be having on Shabbos, now food amnesia makes a lot less sense. If, in fact, every bite I eat on Shabbos, whether it's a cookie or a shot of whiskey at Kiddush, whether it's a coffee and, a sweet treat, whether it's some meat that is heavier or more expensive or nicer than you would have during the week, if it's that you have 6 different roasted vegetables versus the 1 or 2 you have during the week. If every bite is saying, hey, I'm going to access my soul through my body. I'm going to eat these vegetables, I'm going to eat this meat, but every bite, the entire purpose of why we're using food to connect to our soul on Shabbos is we have special blessings, longer benching. All of these things are to elevate the food experience to be a spiritual experience, not to consume so much abundance, but to be abundantly grateful for the food that we have. Is this resonating with you? Is this landing with you guys? Is this connecting to where we kind of had this old mindset that is these thoughts that is now affecting our behavior, that we have to eat more, and we get 2 portions? In fact, it's the opposite. So let's give really practical examples that I have seen from my private clients, that I've seen from you guys, that you've asked me via my email, coachliliarona.com, those of you who are going through the digital course, and topics that I've seen from our group coaching members. So one of them is alcohol and alcohol consumption on Shabbat. It's become very socialized and very acceptable to have, a cocktail or a drink Friday night, to have a few over Shabbat, especially if you have good friends who are drinkers. How practically are we going to overcome these habits without feeling deprived in a way that's going to create more self-respect and really loving our reflection when we pass ourselves in the mirror, loving who we know we truly are on the inside? So number 1 is to get clear and actually make a list of all of the times that you're exposed to alcohol over Shabbat. And this would be the same if we were talking about cookies being your thing, right? So we're going to use alcohol as the first example. So for men and women, this has both become a problem or a norm societal norm that there is either a cocktail or something, a kiddush Friday night or a bottle of wine. Then there's often a kiddush 10, 11 a.m. during the day. Then maybe at lunch. Then maybe on these nice long summer Shabbases, maybe there's something in the afternoon. And then maybe even Saturday night after you've cleaned up and all the stress of the day, you're having something else. If you're a man, you might be at Kiddush where people are having shot after shot after shot after shot, or at someone's Shabbat table where they're offering you more and more and more. So make a list of all of these opportunities and ask yourself which one is the one that's actually connecting you spiritually to something to do with Shabbat. Whether you're really connecting to these friends you're having a drink with, or having that glass of wine really elevates that meal to be something that you wouldn't do during the week. You're not drinking wine during the week when you have dinner, and so this is really special. And this is also a good chance to check in with if you're having wine all week, right? Like, is it really elevating the specialness of your Shabbat? Let's check in with that, right? Let's be really honest with ourselves. So then hopefully you're only going to come up with 1 to 2 instances over that whole period of time that are the ones that are actually have any significance on Shabbat and that aren't just societal social pressure. I have an entire section, which we are not going to cover today, on people pleasing and societal peer pressure, but we'll save that for another Q&A. Let's give that same example of food amnesia with, let's say, cookies or rugelach or babka cake or any of these like Danishes that we tend to have around, Krispy Kreme donuts people are talking about over Shabbat. So first thing in the morning, people wake up and they want their coffee and their piece of cake because it's different than every other morning. So you have 2 options here. Starting the day high up on sugar when you know there's so many eating opportunities to come might not be the smartest idea. And so a great way to give yourself a different breakfast from during the week, maybe even something sweet, is to come up with a breakfast that is 50% protein, 50% carbohydrates, like a vanilla protein yogurt with some fresh berries, like I'll put it in the group. There's a great high protein bagel recipe out there. Very simple. I think it's originally from Skinny Taste. I'll put the recipe in. What I did is I took that yogurt high protein dough. I rolled it out. I just sprayed it with oil spray and did stevia and cinnamon. And I turned them into like cinnamon buns. So cinnamon bun and a pro yogurt, like that can be a high protein Greek yogurt. That could be a great breakfast on a Shabbat morning if you're waking up early enough to have breakfast, or you could have it as your kiddush, your first sweet thing of the day. But it's really important to get honest. If you want to stop waking, we have to make tweaks to what we're currently doing that is resulting in weight gain. But we can do it by having more self-respect, taking better self-care, and having a better experience overall. In fact, you could bring that beautiful tray of cinnamon buns to a kiddush or event you are going to because they're dairy, and it would be a really fun treat for everybody. They're absolutely delicious. If you want that recipe, write #replay and write recipe here in the chat. Okay, so what about Friday night with those sweets and treats, right? So very often I have seen in people's trackers, clients of mine, that they have this custom that they have something sweet right after candlelighting. I'm not a rabbi. I'm not getting into whether or not you should eat something sweet before Kiddush, whatever. Talk to your own rabbi. But I see it a lot in people's trackers that this is a custom, okay? So if it is your custom, something you can do is you can swap out the candy or the cookie and you can make a really fragrant, I call it a sugar cookie tea. It's the Wazowski almond tea, 2 tea bags in 16 ounces of water with cinnamon, vanilla, stevia. You could use a regular stevia and 1/4 cup of almond milk. It is absolutely delicious and it literally tastes and smells like a sugar cookie. It's a great way to get water in, be a little full, especially in summer Shabbatot that are Shabbases that are very long and you're eating very late and you don't want to go in too hungry. That's something sweet you can have Friday night so that then if you want to have a dessert after dinner, you want to check in with your body. Do I feel good when I have dessert after dinner? If you feel good and it's spiritually elevating and making Shabbat different from a dinner during the week, then there are a few things you can do to really help you stop waking and still have that treat that you love. Number one is do single-sized portions that are appropriate for nighttime. Nobody needs, after you've had a big Shabbat dinner, a huge slice of cake. So making mini cupcakes and then really going all out on the decoration, if you love cake, that's a great way to go. And putting out 1 to 2 per person on a tray. And then bringing that out to the table, and again, following it up with a tea or a Lily's hot cocoa. Something we like to do is do a chocolate mousse, where again, we do it in these really small cups. So it feels really elevated, really decadent when we really go all out on the decoration. So it feels really Shabbos-ic. Another thing you can do if you have a chocolate chip cookie fetish, which is my husband's thing, and he loves a sweet treat Friday night. We have to have a dessert in our house, but he also doesn't want to feel gross in the morning. We're too old for that, man. So one of the things that we have done is we do about, I would say they're like this size, little chocolate chip cookies, like mini ones. And what we'll do is we'll serve 2 or 3 with everybody, like we'll make a really nice pot of tea and take out our China teacups, which makes it really special, and we'll all have tea and cookies to dip into the tea, and maybe even hot cocoa for the kids. So it's really special, and again, elevating it without making ourselves sick. So those are all a few ideas that we could put out there very practically to kind of help with food amnesia. But the number one cure for food amnesia is to go back to a mindset and to say it is not serving us, and it's really a myth that Shabbos is about consuming abundance. Shabbos is about being abundantly grateful for what you have, that God gave us double on Friday so that you don't have to worry about taking in and getting every single thing you can, because you trust that God's got your back and he's been taking amazing care of you. And now it's your job to integrate your soul and your intention and your self-awareness with your body on Shabbat, because all week we are too busy to think about that stuff. If you have more questions we didn't get to on food amnesia, more scenarios you want us to go for, put them here in the chat. I can't wait to see you back here next Thursday at 1 p.m. If you really like this, please invite friends to our group, tag them in this video, and invite them to come next week live, absolutely free. To every Wednesday, I'll put up a poll with the topics, and you guys can choose which topic you want most. And I'll be sharing also things that I'm seeing in my clients' trackers so that everybody can really benefit in this community together. So don't forget to invite your friends, and see you next week.